Hello, everyone. Welcome to Between the Lines podcast, where we talk about adolescence, parenting, and everything in between. Today's conversation is a topic that many teenagers are not being taught, and that is about money and investing. While we are growing up, we're taught how to read, how to pass exams, but nobody really taught us about money and how to invest it. That is why we have put together this episode titled Investment 101 for Teens. And of course, we have in the studio a stockbroker who is going to do justice to that topic. So if you are a teenager, you are a parent, or if you are someone who wants to know about investing, who wants to know the basics about investing, then this conversation is for you. All right, send the link to anybody you know should be in this conversation. Without wasting time, I'm going to bring up our guest on stage. I'm going to kickstart the episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me as I bring up on stage our guest for today, Messi Awolola. Hello, Messi.
Hello, good evening, good
Good
afternoon, good
evening.
morning, everyone, from wherever you are watching.
Yeah, thank
It's
you for
nice to
choosing
be
to do
here.
this.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for accepting to do this with us. Thank you very
It's
much.
my pleasure. It's my
Yeah,
pleasure.
so thank you. Investment 101 for teens. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is investment?
Okay, so investments, to simply put now, means making your money work for you. A lot of us we grew up knowing that okay, when you have surplus funds, you either put it in bank savings accounts and then probably the bank gives you interest. If you don't withdraw, well, they have a certain limit. If you don't withdraw probably more than twice or thrice in a month, then you get interest on your money. But in investments, it is making your money work for you. And we there are different types of things you can do to actually make your money work for you. People in real estate, they also make their money work for them. But in this instance, we're talking about in the financial market now. If so, investment, to simply put, is making your money work for you and getting the returns. Thank you.
Okay, making your money work for you. So if I put money somewhere, I can go to bed and my money will be working for me.
Certainly, you can.
Oh,
We
wow,
have a lot
wow,
of people that actually live on that, on on
wow.
the interest, or what would I put it now, or the gains on their capital and dividends. So there are a lot of things that you can if you have enough, you can go to bed and sleep and make your money work for you and start earning from there. So
Wow.
it is investment is a very, very good thing, and it is good to learn it. I like that you're bringing it to teenagers, people that are just growing up. It is a thing that is encouraged. In fact, if I have my way, I wish I could just start going to schools and making these people know that you can actually start as minimum,
Yeah.
with any minimum amount. You can actually do great things, because if some of us had known this earlier, we would have actually had financial
Yes.
freedom way back,
Yes.
like a
Yes.
long time ago. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. I think when we're growing up, we're not really taught about money. Like we don't know the concept of money. It was when we became adults, we be like, oh, I wish we had done this earlier. So to ask, at what age do you think people should start learning about money and investing?
Well, I would say as long as you've given birth to a child and the child is outside your womb, then you can start
Wow.
investing on behalf of that child. Honestly, because we have children, let's say starting from the naming ceremony, people start giving our children money. Oh, this is for this is for the child, this is that.
Mm,
And in the context, let me say the Yoruba context where some of us grew up, they'll just tell you, okay, as parents, buy Bible for the child. You buy Bible, and
mm,
then the remaining you pocket it and say, I'm actually the parent. But you can actually start from there in the name of that child. You have a lot of investments you can do for children, that even you will just be the signatory to the account in their name. You can have that account for them, and then when people give them money, you you put discipline and start putting that money in that account for them. And by the time this is why we see most of these rich people, we are rich also. So,
mm.
but most
Yes,
of these
good,
rich
yes.
people, what they do, they have trust fund accounts. They have trust for their accounts for their children from when they are little. Some of them we have
Hmm.
locked up investment that, okay, they can only have access to it probably when they are 18 or when they are 20 or when they are a certain age. So there are a lot of things you once a child is born, you can start investing. And then once that child starts having the consciousness of what money actually is, okay, I can buy this with this, I can, the financial discipline should start from there. So right from that time, they should have financial discipline. They should learn how to save, how to invest their money, how to make their money work for them. And then with that, even in the general, in every other thing, you will see that that discipline will affect every other way of life of that particular child.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. So, as soon as you give birth to your child, it's advisable that you start one or two investments for them. And the moment they become money conscious, you can teach them about money. Now, what do children need to know about money? Like, what exactly do they need to know about money? I don't know
Okay.
if you understand my
So
question.
I okay, I think I understand it. Let me
Okay.
just put it this way. As let me say as a parent or guardian who has children that are under you, that you are training, you are bringing up, the first thing you make them understand is that once you have money, you don't just spend, you don't just start spending, you don't just start thinking of those things you've always been wanting and all of that. In fact, even as an adult, the basic thing, once you have the money come into your account, maybe your salary, gift, whatever it is, the first thing is how many percent am I investing? You know, there's always this formula that people put. Is it the is I think it's the 40-30-30 formula. That is, you invest 40%, you invest
Mm,
40%, you 30% goes to you, your immediate needs, your to sort all of it, and then 30% goes to probably unforeseen circumstances that might happen. So you should, in fact, before you think of anything, when money comes in, learn to teach these children that the first thing to do is like put something aside to invest. I wouldn't use the word save now because when you save, that money will be there. We have a lot of factors that will affect it, inflation rate and all of these things. And by the time you are saving, let me say probably you've been saving since 2015, you saved 200,000 as a child. And now by the time you get to what you would have bought for 200,000 in 2015, so savings is actually not advisable. It is the best thing is to invest.
mm,
And so as parents, let them know that the first thing when you have money is to invest. Learn to invest before you start thinking of the things you need to buy and the things you need to get. Thank you.
mm. So, as a child, the first thing that should come to your mind is to invest. But before they can accumulate money to invest, I think they have to save to accumulate, right?
Thank you. Thank you. And so that is where most of these investment platforms, the world is digitalized now. Before
Mm,
in past years, before you can think of investment, you'll be like, I must have like 5 million
mm-hmm.
or millions and all of that. Do you know that you can invest as little as 2,000 naira?
Really?
Y- Yes, and we have a lot of apps and platforms now where you can, even as a student, you know, most of our upcoming generations they like digital things that they can aside you can always do them on your own. But why I will not advise this do it on your own thing is you don't have experience. You can just buy
Experience.
stocks that is at its peak already, or things that are not, so you need investment guidance, you need investment advice. So that is why I would, but you can invest from as low as 2,000 from most of these platforms. You just need to get a platform that is approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission, and then you start trading. We have a lot of them. I wouldn't want to mention name so that I will not be giving them free PR.
Free
But
PR.
you know, we have a lot of these platforms. We have a lot of these platforms where teens can invest and actually start from anything. You can start from 2,000 naira, from 5,000, from any amount, and just buy a little bit of probably shares and all of the. In fact, the even bonds. I think in the course of this meeting, I'll still talk about different types of investment that we can do. But I just want to like digress. Even in bonds, in savings bonds, you can start with as little as 5,000 naira. We have the federal government savings bond. You can start with as little as 5,000 naira. So there is no you don't have to wait till you have all the money. So you don't have to like accumulate it somewhere and then bring it. No, you can
Mm.
always do it little by little.
Wow. I also used to have the belief that I need to have a lot of money before, I can invest. I remember messaging you and I asked you that what's the minimum that I can invest? And you said I can invest with as low as 50,000 naira. I was like, 50,000 naira. Are you sure? But what we know about investing is when we hear investment, what comes to mind is big money. Like it has to, but now that you have told us that you can invest with as low as 2,000 naira. So there is really no excuse for anything teenager not to invest. I mean, you can't say, "Oh, I don't have money." 2K is, I believe, 2K is affordable to an extent. Thank you very much for that, Mercy.
Thank you.
Now, what are some common money mistakes that you think young people make? What are the mistakes you've seen young people make about money or with money?
Thank you. So the first thing I'll mention is trends. Young
Mm,
people nowadays wants to follow trends.
mm,
I don't know this thing about okay, this thing is even if it is not worth it, they just want to get it. So anything, any money that comes into their purse, they just want to get whatever is in vogue. If you don't put your money to work, that money you actually spend it and have nothing else. You will
mm-hmm.
not have anything left.
True.
So it is good to look good, to be up to date, to have all of these things. But I tell you, when you invest, you can always use the capital gain on those investments to get all of those things. I Okay, let me just give an example. It is not how it moves in all ways, oh, but I'm just using this person as an example. In
Okay.
late 2024, yeah, 2024, somebody said I advised her to start with investing, and so she put in 400,000. She actually wanted to put 1 million. She was like, I'm not sure, I'm not this, I'm not that. I said, okay, just start with whatever you have. And then I bought Access Bank stocks for her then. Access shares at 17 naira. And then I sold for her at 22. She got dividend as at early 2025. I bought MTN for her. I bought MTN around 170 thereabouts. I sold the MTN at 220 something. Then I bought Aradel. I bought Aradel then around 500 and something naira. And then she got dividend twice in Aradel. She got about 20 something thousand and 12,000 again for interim dividend. Do you know that as at this time that I'm talking, the money is now about 1.6 million, late
Whoa.
2024. So though it doesn't work like that in all situations, but for her case now, she doesn't even know jack about investing or anything. I'm just the one using the. She'll just say, if I call her and say I want to change this portfolio, I want to put on, she'll just say, just do whatever you like with it and all of that. So I would say for that kind of person, if she had used that 400,000 naira now to buy probably
Mm,
jewelries or clothes or bags or whatever as at that time,
mm,
in fact, some of them she might not even be able to use them as at this time, 2026 again.
mm,
But that money now she can take out of it and buy whatever she pleases to buy. So I would just say trends. Young people, they want to follow trends. They want to just live like it's my money. I can do anything with it. I can. So you have to be accountable first to yourself. If you're not
mm,
accountable to yourself, you cannot be accountable to others. Be accountable to yourself. Have a goal. Okay, I know this is my allowance for the month. Okay, by the end of the year, I want to have this so amounts in investments. Have a goal, be accountable to yourself. Don't just live as if you are not accountable to anybody with my money. Or then most people believe that it is not enough. Ah, how much are they giving me
mm,
as pocket money and all of that? So let me tell you, even Dangote, it is not enough for him.
mm,
The with all his refineries, his chains of businesses, the money is still not enough. So it is not enough for everybody. You have to start, if you're not disciplined now, even when you have
yeah.
large amounts of money, it will still not be enough.
Mm,
Thank you.
mm. Thank you very much. Discipline, accountability. Now let's talk about this get rich quick scheme that they call it investment to put
Mhm.
2,000 naira, get 4,000 naira. I think that many people who are not taught about money early tend to fall into schemes like this. Now, for teenagers who are coming up, how can they identify a true investment and a get rich quick scheme?
Thank you. So, like I said earlier, every of the things I've been saying for investment and all of that, I will tell you it is not always like that. It is not. So there's always a caveat. See, any investment that is promising you that by tomorrow you are getting so amount, that is promising you a certain, except of course if they are fixed income. We have fixed income where you get percentage, but even in fixed income, the profits are not so high. It is not.
Mm,
It is not like you get 100% at once. Any investment promising excess returns, too much of returns. Like once you
mm,
see them, you know them. The thing about Nigerians is that most of us are just greedy. When we see these things, we know
true.
that this is not the right what's it called? This is not a right investment. And then for to be sure, to be for benefit of doubt, you can always check the website of the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Okay.
Every capital market operator, every investment platforms, every investment houses are on the website of the Securities and Exchange Commission. I think that's www.sec.gov.ng. So once you search for a name and it's not popping up on that list, you know that this is definitely a scam, a fraud. Though we have some
Wow.
of some of the people, I think there was a particular company like that had issues with SEC, though they were not scams, but because they did not register, did not go through the right path, they listed them as scam. We have some exemptions like that. But just go there for benefit of doubt and check. If they are not listed there, just stay away until probably they
Mm,
clear their name that, oh no, it's because we didn't go through the right channels and all of that. But if they are not, that is
mm,
just the best way you can confirm. And then once investments start promising returns that are not realistic, then you know this is definitely it looks like a
mm.
scam. You just know that this is a scam. Thank you.
Wow. I think I'm hearing for the first time that I can go to the website of stock exchange to check. Wow. The thing about Nigeria is we don't want to read, we don't want to stress ourselves, we don't want to go the extra mile to get information. I think that's a
Exactly.
problem for Nigeria. But
And
now that
sorry, let me just correct something there. It's not the website of the stock exchange. We have the Nigerian Stock Exchange, we have the Securities and Exchange
okay.
Commission. So the Securities and
Okay.
Exchange Commission is the body that regulates all capital markets, all activities of the capital market. While the NGX is under the Securities and Exchange Commission. So that is you can get that on the website of the Securities and Exchange Commission. There's a part for investors and there's a part for companies on that. So you go to the part for investors, you'll see the list of all the companies. Thank you.
Wow. Hey, that's a lot. Thank you very much. So, as teenagers or as someone who is just learning about investment and wants to, go into investment, what are the types of investments that they can go into?
Okay, so thank you. Yeah, I'll start by saying that we have various type of financial instruments. We have
Okay.
fixed income instruments, and most of these are classified under the money market instruments. We have equities, we have bonds, we have a whole lot of them. So let me just pick the ones that I know that okay, as teenagers we can start investing in. So firstly, we have treasury bills, and treasury bills, it is a federal government debt instrument. It's like you are borrowing the federal government money.
Money, okay.
Yeah, so but it has a fixed percentage. I think as at Friday, the percentage should be around maybe 15 point something, maybe 15-16% interest rate per annum. So we have the treasury bills, and we have for 91 days, we have for 182 days, and we have the one for 364 days. But the issue with treasury bills is that it is the CBN that regulates it, and they give it to commercial banks. You can actually not buy directly from CBN because I think the minimum amount is around is it 500 million or something. So but
Oh,
they give it to commercial banks, and then you can buy from the secondary market from commercial banks. And when you're buying
okay.
from commercial banks, it now depends on probably your relationship with your stockbroker or your relationship with your banker in the bank. Because some banks will tell you they don't want to take anything lesser than probably 200,000, anything lesser than probably 500,000. So each of them can have their own, what's it called? Their own benchmark. Do you get? So,
Mm.
but it's just like they are wholesalers and they are distributing it to retailers. So for that, it's you might need a huge sum of money. Let me put it as huge, or probably like 100,000, 200,000 to do that, or probably
So
above that.
teenagers may not be able to invest in that.
Invest in treasury bills, but they could have opportunities. You might actually not know that these children, they have a lot of, they have, let me say, they have a lot of what's it called now, they have a lot of opportunities more than we do, because
Mm.
they are exposed to a lot of them do copywriting, they do virtual assistants, they do,
Mm.
and you wouldn't believe the amount of money they have. Some of them will just pretend as if they don't have money, but really they are making money online. You know, some of those opportunities that we
Mm.
were not exposed to
Exposed
early.
to. Mm.
Yeah, so some of them you might not you might not really. So I'm just saying it because when they have that opportunity, they can always invest in.
Okay.
And treasury bills is low risk. Certainly you will get your money. You will certainly get your money. It is, there's no, you will get your interest. It cannot diminish. You will get your money, and the lowest one is 91 days. So it's very, like, when what we probably, you just have a money, you have some funds you want to fix for, like, let me say 3 months. That's 91 days. Let me just quickly put this money there. In 3 months I will be needing it, and then you get your returns 15%, and you are off. So
Wow.
we have that. Then we have federal government savings bond. That one is from 2 to 10 years. Is it 2 to 30 years rather? So we have the ones for 2 years, for 5 years, for 10 years, depending. So that is the one I said we can do as low as 5,000 naira.
Okay.
But the good thing about it is, probably you have done the one for maybe 30 years, for example, and in the next 5 years, you just go like, I need my money. It's like I cannot continue with this thing. You will actually get your money. The only thing is that you will not get the full interest. So they will
Okay.
calculate the interest for that 5 years that you've done. They will
Yes.
give it to you. So that one you can start with as low as 5,000. The minimum amount is 5,000 naira. And for you to get that, you also need a stockbroker who will who can help you process it. And then we have equities. That is my specialization, stocks.
Okay.
So, okay, before I go to equities, let me say we have mutual funds. We have mutual funds. Mutual funds is just like, many people, for some of us now as teenagers, it's my work for us, because it is just like, many people will just come to you and say, I'm your investment advisor, and I take money from you. I take money from A, B, C, D, E, probably to Z, like a lot of people like that. And then I invest that money in bulk for you. It is
Okay.
easier to get higher returns on a lump
Yeah.
sum of money. So that is majorly what mutual funds is. We have
Mm.
ETFs, exchange traded funds too. Exchange traded funds is that, some of these apps that I mentioned earlier, some of these platforms also do some of these things. I don't want to mention name of companies. I don't want to give them, I don't want to advertise for them. So, but we have some of these companies that do exchange. What is exchange traded funds? It's just like, you know, instead of you to like buy Access Bank shares now, probably they just group all the banks together and say, okay, for all of the banks in the market, they will do an average. They have a way they calculate it, and then even without your 5,000, you can invest in a lot of them at once. So there's a way
Oh.
it is being calculated, and so you are exposed to less risk because it is not a single stock. So if even if one is going down, if others are moving, it will actually move your money higher. So that is then investing in individual stock. Now that is
Mm.
equities. So
Okay.
for you to invest in stocks, actually you need a lot of and that is why stockbrokers are here for you, because you cannot just gamble into stocks. For example, if you want to, as teenagers, I know we are vast, we are intelligent, we want to learn and all of that. So if you want to actually go into stock, there are certain things you have to look at. You have to look at their financial performance, probably in the last 4 5 years. How have they been doing? Because those are some of the things that affect the share price.
Okay.
Probably when they release results now, maybe a company that made let's say 500 million in profits last year now declared this year's what's it called, financial statement. Somebody that has been making 500 million and they now made probably 200 million. There's a decline. Okay, probably the following year they now made 100 million. This company is going into loss. You quickly
Mm.
pull out your money. That these people can actually, they can let your money go down and
Mm.
all of that. So you look at the financial statements, you look at the corporate governance of the company. If you notice that, okay, the people in this company, how are their, what's it called, the executives in the company, the management in general, the board, the composition, is it people that probably in the past they have had cases of embezzlement, cases of probably they have criminal records in terms of money, financial records with TFCC, and they've been, maybe that's the
Fraud and
composition
all.
of the board, the fraud and all of that. So you like, oh no, this is not a good company to invest in. They're having issues. You
Okay.
look at the news, and there are times that even a stock might be very good, they might be have good financial records, but to the outside world, the news flying around, they have bad PR.
Hmm.
So that alone can even affect them, even though they are naturally doing very well. But the news around, that is why, the markets with so much fear all these bloggers. There was a recent one recently that involves I work with Lambert Capital, and then we have a sub broker which is Bamboo. I can mention us so that you people can come and invest with us. We have Bamboo. And then once you open social media, when you go to social media, Instagram, Facebook, and all that, you just see some people portraying themselves as Bamboo, that you should come and invest, which is not from us. And so we quickly have to, because most of these things, most of this information that is out in the public, it is what people see. Most people don't know anything. So it is what they see that they believe that is happening. So that is why most of the the informations out there also affect stock price. So those are the things you look at. The financials, okay, what have they been doing? Their dividend payouts. Has this company been paying the dividends? There are some companies that don't pay dividends. It is companies that make profits that pay dividends. If they don't make
Mm.
profits, they cannot pay you what they don't have. So there are companies that
Mm.
have been making losses over and over again.
Mm.
Some, their losses could be understandable. If, for example, maybe a company that is into agriculture, you know, if they, for the first year, maybe a company that is into palm oil plantation, for example, the first year they are acquiring things, they are acquiring lands, they are buying this, they are buying that, farm implements and all of that, employing people to come and in the first year, if you're doing palm oil plantation, you cannot see returns. So definitely they will enter into loss. That kind of
Mm.
company, you can say, okay, it is understandable. Probably in the third, fourth year, they can start making high returns. But that kind of stock, if you're investing in it, then you have to know that this is not a stock you invest and in the next probably 6 months, 1 year, you take your money. That means it is a long term. We have long term, we have short term and medium term stocks. So those are the things you look at even as teenagers. You can research all of this information on your own, you can get them on the internet. Any company that is publicly listed, you can always have information. You can have their information on the internet. They must publish it, they must let it be known to the public. Thank you.
Ha. You know what you have said, which means that one must not just rush into investment. You can't be in a hurry because you want to
Exactly.
invest. You have to take your time and be patient to do your research. That's a lot. Anyways, that's why you stockbrokers are there for us. You help us do all the
Exactly.
research. Now let's talk about losses in investments. You mentioned that if you invest in oil palm and all of that, of course, the first year you won't get your returns. Now, when I invest my capital and there's loss, is it that it's going to affect my capital, or I will not just get my interest? What does loss in
Thank you.
investment mean? Mm.
So when we say loss in investment, it depends on the particular type of investment. But let me talk about equities that have been on. So when we say loss in investment, in equities, you can actually lose your capital, or let me say a
Whoa.
percentage of your capital. But
Okay.
that is why we always tell you, when you are investing, don't come with your school fee, don't come with your house rent, don't come with money that you will be needing
Mm,
urgently. Like you wouldn't have a choice but to. Something about this market is if you are patient, you get your returns. But if you come
mm,
with money that you need urgently, and by the time you need it, probably the market is not doing so well, you have to just take it like that. That is a loss. For as much as I know, if you are patient enough, you get your returns. If you are
mm,
patient enough. You know, the market will go up, it will come down. When it comes down, that is the time for you to reinvest, to add more money, to add more to your portfolio because you are buying lesser. You are going in at the entry point. Then when it goes up, we always advise people when stocks goes up like that and you've seen that okay, probably for this period it has reached its peak, then we advise what's it called, clients now, that you can take profits. What taking profits means that sell at that particular time, then you wait for it to go down again, you invest. By the time you reinvest, the number of units that you now have will be more than what you had in previous times because your
yeah.
money has like increased. So there is possible losses, but that is for people that are not patient. If you are patient and you don't use money that you need in a rush, then you will make your profits. Though we've seen a
Mm,
time, I think in 2008 there was, let me say, a recession, and stock market fell so badly that it went so bad then. But people that re-entered at that low point, they are the ones gaining now because a lot of them. I remember someone came to our office about 2 weeks ago now. If any of my colleagues are listening, they remember the incidents of this woman. And she came. When she got to the office, she was like, that she invested in, was it 2013 or 2017? She invested 20,000 naira. And now, at 20,000 naira is around 400,000. So imagine she had invested maybe like 2 million. You know the percentage it would have. So we have,
wow.
and then one thing I would like to add also is that we should not be moved by news that we hear on social media because now everybody is an advisor. You just see people advise. I just go on social and see a lot of things. I'm like, this person doesn't know anything, and they will assure people, don't worry, it will. We have things that has worked like that. In fact, there was a stock that was listed in January this year on the exchange. I wouldn't mention name, but the stock's name start with Z for those that are investors who already know. I wouldn't mention it. So the stock was listed in January, and by the end of February, the stock has already done 700%. It
Wow.
was, in fact, the exchange has to suspend that stock because it was getting, I think they listed it around, was it around 2 naira or something? And by the end of February, it was already around 17 naira, thereabouts. And so they had to suspend it. Like, if people continue like this, it is people that are entering at this high
Mm,
points that will suffer for it because, you know, people that don't have information, as a stockbroker,
mm,
I wouldn't advise you to go into that kind of stock because it is just being listed. We don't know what they've done. They've not. It is not as if you can compare their past year results and all of that. Though they said privately, before they listed on the exchange, they've been paying dividends, but we cannot work with that. We can only work with what we can see, what we are seeing, the facts out there. So that is why I would just say you can make losses, but you can also gain if you are patient. It might come down. In fact, there are times it will eat into your money negative, and then it will rise again if you are patient. So we don't advise people to put in their school fee as students. Thank God we are talking to students, to teenagers. Don't say, oh, they've told me to invest. I'll be paying my school
mm,
fee next month. Let me quickly put it in this one. It might not work that way. It might
mm,
not work that way. What we are telling you to invest is your excess funds. And when we say excess, it's not as if when you after spending, just discipline yourself and put in certain amount. It might be monthly, it might be per semester, per session or whatever. Thank you.
mm. Wow. Thank you so much. Now, you mentioned short term, medium term, long term. How long or how short is short term? How long is medium term? And how long is long term?
So when I'm talking about short term, let me say short term, we could say, okay, it's a stock that we've after analyzing all the necessary things. Probably a stockbroker that way. I don't want to go into too much of mathematics and all of that. And then you say, okay, these stocks have potential in the next, let's say 1 year, it can
Okay.
do this. That is to me short term.
Short
So when we're
term.
talking
Okay.
about medium term, we can start from anything after 1 year to 2, 3 years. And when we're talking
Okay.
about long term, like I said the other time, when I was using a company that is into palm um, plantation. So for that kind of company, we can say it's a long term company. So
Okay.
such thing, okay, let's say in the next 4 years, you're not expecting return until probably the next 4 years or something. So that one you can do it for little children that are just growing up. They don't need the money now. We can always, but
Mm.
once those type of stocks peak, they skyrocket, and so for
Okay.
those
So
kind of, yeah,
thank you. Now, one thing I believe that teenagers have is time, or children have is time. Like they have
yeah.
that years for them to build their stocks and all of that. So would you advise that they go into long term investments?
Yeah, something about it is when we are advising people to invest, we actually do not advise you to put all your money in stocks. We advise you to
Okay.
diversify your portfolio. So,
Okay.
as children, or let me say as students now, let me say children. So, as students, or when you want to invest, you can actually say, okay, if I'm investing monthly, let me have a schedule. Okay, the first month, let me put my money in the equities. The second month, let me put my money in probably federal government treasury, federal government bonds, savings bonds. The savings bonds is always open every first week of the month. Every first week of every month, you can
Okay.
always put your money in savings bonds. So don't put it in. Let me say, no, 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 let me just do long term alone. You can
Okay.
diversify it, put a particular percentage in short term investment, put a particular percentage in long term, put a particular percentage in medium term.
Medium
So
term.
we don't advise people to just put it in one, and you should diversify your portfolio so that you spread your risk across board.
Hmm. True. You don't put all your eggs in one basket.
That's right.
All right. Thank you so much. This has been an enlightening session. Very enlightening. Even me as an adult, I don't know so much about investment, let alone teenagers. And I'm glad that we're actually having this episode. Now, what is one money habit that every teenager should start today? Let's assume that we've had teenagers, or let's assume that we have people who are watching us and you've been struggling, like you said, discipline, accountability. What is one money habit that you would tell every child or every teenager should start today, going forward from today?
Okay, so as a teenager, I think I've probably my discussions have answered that, but let me just say it again. Even as an adult, learn to be accountable, learn to be disciplined. So once you have money, the first thing is what you are investing. Because if you don't think about investment that particular time you have that money, you will always have needs you want to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because human needs are insatiable. Going back to my economics notebook. So you will always have needs you want to. So let it just be at the back of your mind that the first
Mm,
thing is okay, how much am I investing? These things might look small to you, but by the time they come together, you would be so proud of yourself of what you have done. Honestly, by the time you put these things together, I have some people that what they do now, they don't work. What they rely on, I have some clients that what they rely on is the capital gains on their investment, the dividends they get on
really?
their investments. Yes, we have
Wow.
we have some very legitimate investment that you can put your money into and then up to 3% in a month. I know
Wow.
someone, though that is a high level investment. She put in 80 million into an
Mm,
investment, though she's still working. I think her current salary should be around 1.5 million per month. And then she invested 80 million into an investment that gives her 3% in a month. And that's 2.4 million. So her 2.4 million investment plus her 1.5 salary, she's living her life large. And you wouldn't know that. So even if we don't have 80 million, with whatever we have, you wouldn't just, in fact, you would just wake up one day and probably you have an urgent financial need. And so I have this amount here. You wouldn't believe how much you've gone, how far you've gone rather. So that is one thing about it. Let investment be the first thing if you get money as pocket money, if people give to
Mm,
you, before you think of what do I want to buy, what do I want to get, these things I've been eyeing it, I want to do this, I want to do that. Let investment be your first thing, the first thing you think about.
hmm. Wow. Sorry, I want to ask a question. I don't know if you've mentioned it during the course of the conversation, but when we talk about investments, you've mentioned short term, medium term, and long term. To see that all investments have is it end period now? All investments have end period. That at certain period, it will come to an end. You have to withdraw your capital, or are some just continuous till forever and ever?
Yeah, some have tenor. We call it tenor.
Okay.
We have
Okay.
investments of 3 months. That's like I mentioned in Treasury bills. That's 91 days. We have some that have tenors that once it's reached that time, they get terminated. But there are some also that there is no tenor. An example is equities. Example is
Yeah.
ETFs. Example is what mutual funds. They don't have
Okay.
tenor, so they are just going. They are just there is no tenor for them. But the only thing is that some of these um let me do equities now. Equities. When you put your money in stocks, in shares, and you see that okay for this particular period, and that is why most of the companies they do stock recommendations for clients. So they will tell you at this time, if you have UBA, for example, let me just say UBA shares, this time it has reached its peak for this period, you can sell. What they are telling you is to do profit taking, you sell. That does not mean that okay, it's the end period for UBA. They are just advising you to sell. If you don't sell, your unit will be there. Even if it goes down, it will still move up later. But if you sell, you have more money. Then when it goes down, you have more money to buy more units than what you had before. So that kind does not have end period. It is just forever. It is just going. Probably if the company does not get liquidated, the only thing that can make it end is probably if the company gets liquidated or they have financial issues, and or probably they do merger with another company, or maybe another company acquire them, they do acquisition. So that is, if that does not happen, it is forever and ever.
Wow. So then let's talk about what will happen to their shares if they get liquidated or they merge or they are being acquired. So those that have bought the shares from those companies, what will happen to their shares?
Yeah, thank you. So we have cases of like Skybank,
Yeah.
we have Dangote Flour. Dangote Flour got delisted, but presently currently in the market we still have Dangote Sugar, we have Dangote Cement, and Dangote Refineries is coming up very soon. I know everybody will have been hearing Dangote
Everybody's
Refineries.
waiting.
So in the case where a company gets delisted, there are times that probably when they are not doing very well, or probably when they are
Okay.
not declaring their financial results, which should be open to the public. If you are a publicly quoted company, you are supposed to put out your information to everybody, but maybe they are trying to like hide it and all of that. They can be on suspension, and from suspension they can get
Okay.
delisted. When something like that happens, we have some people that we call registrars. Registrars, they are like custodians of the whatever you have. It is not the stockbroker does not work solely on your shares. The only thing is that the stockbroker is just like a middleman that talks to you and also interacts with the markets. We have registrars, we have CSCS, that's the central clearing system. So the registrar and the CSCS works hand in hand mostly. So once that kind of thing happens, they have your record, they have your details. It is the registrar, they would decide, aside that the NGX, the Nigerian exchange now, they would decide what the closing price will be for that shares. So once they decide the closing price, they will refund everybody through the registrar, and so you get the money directly in your bank account. So they pay
Okay.
everybody off.
So their
So
money is
in a
not
case
gone.
probably no, 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 no. In a case probably when there is merger or acquisition, and the company that is merging with that particular company or that is acquiring it, probably the company is also listed on the exchange. Then they can do, there are times that probably company A and company B wants to merge. Company A's shares is trading at probably 500 naira. Company B's share is trading at probably 50 naira. There's a huge margin. So those people
Mm.
that have company B shares, they will have to like equate it in a way that it will merge with those that have company A. That means that those that are having 50 naira shares, that if they want to merge with those that are having, that means the unit will
500.
reduce, their unit will reduce.
Okay.
Yeah. So they will have to like merge. And but if you don't, they will always put out what's it called, notice to investors now, that do you want it to be merged or you want to get your money. So whatever you choose,
Okay.
they will always set to you.
Okay. You always think that I've always asked this question that how will happen to their money? So I used to feel that the money is gone, but now I know
No,
that
they
their
pay
money
them.
is not gone. Okay,
They pay
that's good
them.
to know. Now let's talk about how to identify a legit stockbroker. Because as a teenager now, they may not have access to the companies or the company shares by themselves. Now, how can they identify a legit? You are my stockbroker, and because I know you personally, but how can someone else identify a legit stockbroker?
Okay. So like I said earlier, um we have the website of the Securities and Exchange Commission. There we have all capital market operators. Whatever name you are giving yourself as a stockbroker, if you tell me you are so 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 and so, I can always go there and check if you are registered under the Securities and Exchange Commission. And then we have instances whereby there's people, there are people that stand that calls themselves agents. I've learnt of a particular issue like that. Like I think that person just a close family member just said, ah, Mercy, to stop broking. I have shares. That person has been coming to me, blah blah blah. And by the time I got to investigate, I discovered that this person does not actually work with the company he was
Wow.
portraying that he was working with. He was only doing like an agent, probably would bring clients for them, and then they pay him commission for the clients that he brings. And so he will just collect money from people. He goes to schools, to teachers, to government establishments, all of this. And most of these people are always eager to invest. They want to like, and he collect money from them. Probably the person he collect 50,000 from, he will just go and drop 20,000 for the person's account. He was just doing all of that. And so when the sales person reached out to me, I was like, no. So I had to like take it off. And something every stockbroker dreads is that once you tell them you are going to report them to the Securities and Exchange Commission, they will
Okay.
run and do whatever you want them to do because they can revoke their license.
Wow.
So in that kind of instance, that is why once you check on the website, on the Securities and in fact, once you have checked on the Securities and Exchange Commission website, you will see the name of the key persons in that company.
Hmm.
So you can always reach out to any of the, okay, is so 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 and so person working with you, for them to like, for you to be rest assured that this person I'm relating with is actually, so the information is out there, you can always access it. And for most of these platforms that we have now, that we can always, like for Bamboo, we have a platform too. Bamboo has a platform that is being managed by our stockbroker. So you can always go there, do whatever you want to do, and I think they also do US stocks. So that's another
Okay.
another talk on its own entirely. Because if you don't know much about this market, you don't just stumble into it.
Into
So,
it.
but
Wow.
that is why when you have a stockbroker, you can always reach out and they'll put you through.
Investment is a big deal. It's not something that you just rush into. So I wanted to ask this question that now, if I have a stockbroker, for instance, now what if you decide to leave the company that you're in? What happens to my account with that company?
Yeah, thank you. So that's why I said we are a regulated entity. So even if the person does not work in that company, as long as this company is affiliated to the Securities and Exchange Commission, you can be rest assured that you are in savings. And then you will always be assigned an account officer. So
Okay.
for those that still do the traditional stockbroking business, you always be assigned an account officer that will follow up with you. And for the digital, the world is going digital. Even my company now, we are trying to like build our digital platform where clients can just do their thing even without talking to us and all of that, because that is what the world wants. And we also want to
mm,
grow our business, even though you still need to talk to people. But once you have that account, you have it, you have your account officer, people to manage your account and all of that. So there is no issue. It is not like your name is in the system. In fact, we have little influence over your stocks because it is domiciled with the CSCS, which is the Central Clearing System. So even if you wake up tomorrow and say, okay, oh, I like how Messi used to attend to me, but probably the person they gave me, I don't like the person. I'm moving to another place. You can always move everything you have to another
mm.
place without having to start all over
That's
again.
all
Do you
over.
understand?
Wow.
We call it intermember transfer. You can move to anywhere as
Mm,
long as it is a regulated entity. You can move to anywhere. So you're just, okay, probably the
mm.
person I like is no longer here. You want to move, or probably the person went to another place. I want to follow the person there. I don't want to stay here. You can always move. We do
Oh,
intermember transfer, so you just transfer all your portfolio to that company.
wow. So you won't start all over. You continue from where you
No,
stopped in the
you
other
continue from where
company.
you stop. Exactly.
Wow. Wow. That's good to know. Wow. I have learned a lot about investment too. Wow. And I hope
Thank
our
you.
listeners too are learning. This is really eye opening. Thank you very much, Mercy. All
My
right,
pleasure.
we are gradually coming to the end of the episode. Before we go, or before you go, if every teenager listening could remember just one thing, if there's just one sentence or one statement that you want our listeners to take home tonight, what would that be?
Well, like I've repeated over and over in this series, I'll say discipline and accountability. If you're not disciplined, you cannot save. Just be
Mm,
disciplined and put your investment goals first before anything. And so please let me just use this medium to talk about one thing that we need so much in Nigeria. Just a minute, please, if I'm
yeah, no
permitted.
problem. Of course.
So it's about let me say career wise. Since I'm talking to teenagers, and I think it's the best forum to say it. You know, in the capital market, we have shortage of people, shortage of manpower now. To put, and you know, in Nigeria, we always say there are no jobs, there are these and there are that, and all of that. But I discovered that there's vacuums to be filled, but because there are no experiences, people do not fit into what is available. There are vacuums, there are actually jobs. And if I can just say, okay, as a teenager, if you're trying to like grow, if probably you are thinking of studying things like economics, like banking and finance, like accounting, like any finance related course, even if you are not finance related course and you want to just put, we have courses and they are now in the investment business, they are investment advising bankers. So we have a particular program by the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, the name will soon be changed to Chartered Institute of Investment and Securities. So there's a program for secondary school leavers. For people that just left secondary school, it can prepare you ahead. So when you graduate, you have an edge, and then you can come into the market. We need people. So it is called let me the Securities and Exchange. I'm going I'm trying to remember. Yes, certified securities and investment support specialist. That's it.
Mm,
So if you go to the website of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, you will get it. And it is just 2 stages. I think you just need to do 2 exams. And if you are very good at what you are doing, if you are focused, in a year and a half, you should be done with the 2 stages. And the funniest thing is that it's not that costly. Let me say between 100,000, let me say 100,000, 150 at most. I don't think you even spend up to 150,000. Around 1,000 naira, you will have it, and it's a diploma course. So once you have that, then probably when you are in the university, you can now proceed to now do the CIS exam, level one, level two, as it is. So, but once you have that, it is an edge already. You can always get into investment firms and all of that. So I just advise teenagers if they can do that, you can just go to the website of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers. You see the diploma course there. So I think
thank you.
we
I
go
think
with that.
I think it is lack of information I would say. People are
Exactly.
not really aware about the capital market. They don't know what the capital market is all about. So I think that is why people are not really, going into it. But thank you for
Exactly.
this awareness. Thank you for this enlightenment. So if you want to
It's my
invest, me, I
pleasure.
can
It's
beat
my
my
pleasure.
chest for Mercy. She's a legit, stockbroker. She's our stockbroker. So if you want to invest, don't worry, send me a DM. I'll link you to her. Thank you very much, Mercy. We have come to the end
My
of this session.
pleasure
This
to
this
be
is
here.
very eye
Thank
opening,
you.
honestly. Oh, this is eye opening for me. For me, this is a lot. This is a lot. I have written. See. I have written. I don't know if you can see. I have written. I have written a whole lot. I will go back and digest it. Thank you so much, and I hope our listeners to have learned one or two things. Thank you very much. All right,
Thank you.
so
It's my
we'll
pleasure
be
to be here.
you're welcome. We're bringing the episode to
All
a
right.
close now. I'll be taking you backstage as I round up the episode. Yes, we have come to the end of this episode. I hope you've been able to learn one or two things. Don't spend. The first thing you should do when you have your money is invest. When you get any type of money, any form of money, pocket money, invest. And now that you are still a teenager, you have time for that investment to build up. So please, please, please be accountable and be disciplined when it comes to money. Thank you once again for staying up with us up to the end. I'll see you in the next episode, which is, of course, in 2 Saturdays from now. Until then, I remain your host, Falakemi Abiodun. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.